Hey there, my name is Megan and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the 2022 young adult fantasy releases that I am super excited for. When I was curating this list, I didn't include any sequels to things that had come out in 2021, so these are all like the first book in a new series or a standalone. But before we go ahead and get on into the books, if you are not already subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button, as well as the little bell icon so you can be notified every time I post new bookish content. I post new videos every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday, and sometimes other days throughout the week. Also, don't forget to check down in the description box below for links to all of my social medias, my Buddy Read Discord, and my Patreon, where you can be entered into winning book giveaways from me. I am going to be talking about these books in chronological order. So the first book is In Every Generation by Kendar Blake. And first off, how come I did not know that there was a Buffy book coming out? I am a huge Buffy fan. I love Buffy, and this is especially written by Kendar Blake, who is a YA author I really like. She writes like dark, delicious stories. She wrote Three Dark Crowns and A Dressed in Blood, and I could see her writing a Buffy story, and I saw this. I'm so excited. I actually tried reading Slayer, which is a Buffy-inspired story by Kirsten White a couple of years ago, and really actively just liked it. In fact, I DNF'd it, so I'm kind of weary when I see like Buffy-inspired stories. This isn't really a retelling. But I trust Kendar Blake because I've liked everything else that she's written. But this follows a girl named Frankie, and Frankie is the daughter of Willow, and Willow is a witch, if you guys watch the show. So her daughter has been learning how to be a witch also, but then something happens with the Slayers, and she actually finds out that she might have to be the new vampire slayer. So she's having to learn how to combine her witch abilities with being a slayer. And then there's all of these sidekick characters like a werewolf and then a demon. It just sounds like a lot of fun. We'll probably have all of the Buffy elements that I personally love, maybe a little bit cheesy, some vampire hunting taking place in Sunnydale, California, right on the Hellmouth, and it just seems like a good fun time. So In Every Generation comes out in January. Next book is Castles in Their Bones by Lauren Sebastian. She is the author of the Ash Princess trilogy, which I personally have not read, but has always been something that I've wanted to read. And this at first sounds like your traditional YA fantasy. It follows three different sisters, and they are all being married off to their respective princes, but it's actually not for their benefit. Their mother is actually like an evil queen and is scheming to take over the entire continent, and these three sisters plan on tricking their new husbands, getting out of the marriages, bonding together to try and defeat their mother. So it just kind of sounds like a different sort of YA fantasy about princesses. I've never read a book where they're having to fight against their mother. So I'm interested to see where Lauren Sebastian goes with this story. Castle in Their Bones comes out in February. Next is League of Liars by Astrid Schultz, and I have one of her other books. I think it's Four Dead Queens, which is a YA standalone fantasy. Still haven't read it, but she's an author that I definitely do want to give a try. But in this book, we follow a character named Kador, I think is how you say it, and his mother was killed by someone using magic illegally. When he's older, he actually interns for a lawyer, a public defender, and wants to prosecute people who are using magic in this manner. And one day he comes across some teens who are charged with using magic illegally, and as he investigates the case, he realizes that there's way more to magic and its uses than he originally thought, and his mother's murder might have some more elements to it than he originally thought. And this sounds really interesting because it sounds like it's combining your magic fantasy and your Law and Order slash courtroom drama slash mystery thriller all together in one book. So that's why it definitely piqued my interest. And also, we don't see a lot of male protagonists in YA fantasy, I personally feel like, so it's nice to have a male protagonist. And this book comes out in February. The next book is Edgewood by Kristen Cicerelli, and she is the author of the Last Namsara duology. I think it's a duology, might be a trilogy, but those books about dragons, and she is an author I actually own, it's around here somewhere, I actually own the Last Namsara and haven't read it. She is another author that I really want to give a go to. But this book piqued my interest because it sounds like your traditional dark forest story, which I personally love. But this book follows a main character named Emmeline, and Emmeline has always been drawn to this dark forest called the Edgewood. And when her grandfather disappears, Emmeline takes it upon herself to find out what happened to him. In her journey to save her grandfather, our main character comes across a character named Hawthorne Fell, who the back of the book says he is a collector. I don't know what that means. Like, I think of tax collector. But he's a collector of some sort, and he tries to dissuade her from going on this mission, and instead he ends up helping her. Emmeline and Hawthorne eventually find themselves in the presence of the fabled Wood King inside of this magical forest, and they find themselves trying to figure out a curse that is part of this magical forest and could definitely affect their very existence in the world as they know it. So the two of them have to try to figure out the curse, get her grandfather, and get back to the regular world. So like I said, it just sounds like your dark fantasy, your dark forest. It sounds like we might have some fairies and all the things that I love about a good YA fantasy. And this book comes out in March. The next book is Hotel Magnafique. This is by Emily Taylor, who is an author I am not familiar with. And the whole reason that this book caught my attention is because my first degree was in business administration with a concentration in hotel and tourism management. And during college, I worked at this like 5-star crazy expensive resort where all of these celebrities used to come, and I absolutely loved it. It was so much fun. So when I saw like a fantasy that takes place at a hotel, I was like, oh, I definitely want to read that. But apparently this is a magical hotel, and it actually travels around, and one day it arrives in our main character Janny's town. Janny and her sister immediately jump up to work at this hotel. They get hired, and as they start working at this magical hotel, they start to uncover some horrible secrets about it. These secrets have to do with how the hotel's magic actually operates. So yeah, sounds like so much fun. A magical hotel that travels around, that's got some mystery, some darkness. Definitely a book that I would probably really enjoy, and Hotel Magnifique comes out in April. Hey guys, so it is the next day, and when I was editing my video, I realized that it had actually cut off when I was speaking, like in the middle of my video. I had run out of memory, so I'm gonna go ahead and continue my most anticipated YA releases of 2022, starting with Forging Silver into Stars by Bridget Kemmerer. So this is a spin-off series of her Cursebreakers series, which is the Beauty and the Beast retelling, and I honestly did not read the synopsis because I don't want to be spoiled, because I still need to read the last book in that series, A Vow So Bold and Deadly. But if you've been watching my channel for any amount of time, you know that I really enjoy Bridget Kemmerer. I've enjoyed everything I've read by her, so I'm really excited that she has this new spin-off series, and I'm definitely going to be picking it up. Forging Silver into Stars comes out in May. And the last book is These Fleeting Shadows by Kate Alice Marshall. This is a YA like haunted house slash thriller slash slight horror book, and it is described as the Haunting of Hill House combined with Knives Out, which really piques my interest because I read The Haunting of Hill House I think 2 Halloweens ago and really loved it. And then I've seen the movie Knives Out. I don't know if that's based on a book or not, but I thought it was funny and enjoyable. So that description definitely caught my interest. But in this book, we follow a main character named Helen, and Helen's mom has basically separated her and her daughter from her family, and her family owns this huge manor, all of these grounds, called Harrowstone, or shortened to Harrow. And one day, Helen receives a letter saying that her grandfather had died and bequeathed to her this mansion and all of the grounds. So in order to inherit it, she actually has to go and stay at this mansion for an entire year, and I guess like survive before she's allowed to inherit the grounds and all of this money also. But Helen knows that Harrow is haunted. For as long as she can remember, she's had these dreams about this haunted house. But she decides to go ahead and take the plunge, stay there a year, and investigate exactly what these hauntings are and how to confront them. So I feel like we don't have enough haunted house stories out there, especially YA. I really love The Haunting of Hill House. I really loved Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. Those are both like 2 haunted house stories. So this one sounds like it'd be great for the holiday Halloween season. And These Fleeting Shadows comes out in August, which is right before the fall season. So it'd be a good one to grab. All right, you guys, that is it for my most anticipated young adult books of 2022. Let me know in the comments some books that you're excited for, and I will see y'all in another video soon. Goodbye.